120 watts Class D, a USB-C input, Bluetooth, and now a tuned bass reflex port. Yes. My name's Taps. This is 0102 Studio, and this is the Fluance Ai61 Powered Bookshelf Speaker review. Let's get into it. To say that I was looking forward to this review is a bit of an understatement. I was really looking forward to this review. Fluance has updated their AI series of powered bookshelf speakers, the AI40 and AI60 respectively, now the AI41 and the AI61. There are a variety of great powered speakers on the market today, and Fluance has managed to enter the market at a much lower price point than its rivals, while still delivering a whole lot of speaker. The AI series retails for fairly cheap. The AI61 here is about $300-ish. Fluance hails this speaker as the best speaker for any occasion, and that sentiment does ring true. It's a really great speaker and it's really easy to live with. It's the kind of speaker that you just set up and forget about. I got to review the larger of the two, the AI61 sitting here behind me, and I was really excited because I got to review the previous generation, the AI60, which I subsequently purchased, and it's now sitting pretty on either side of our media stand at our cottage. And it's at our cottage because my family got really used to great sound in our home, and we wanted to have better sound at our cottage. And we rent said cottage out, and I didn't want to have a full hi-fi system that I would worry about when I'm not there, because we do rent the cottage out. And a speaker like this that's an all-in-one is kind of perfect. Our cottage is awkwardly shaped, and it's not really conducive to having a full-fledged hi-fi or theater system set up there. So having something like the AI60 is perfect because it being a powered speaker, it negates the need to have an outboard amplifier or receiver to drive it. Everything's housed inside the box. This review is in supplement to the review that I wrote for Home Theater Secrets, which you can find in the description below. Home Theater Secrets being an audiophile-centric readership, it bears mentioning that I wouldn't class this as an audiophile reference speaker. It's not going to be a passive bookshelf killer. What it is a great all-around workhorse of a speaker, the type that you can set up and forget. But if you're looking to do any sort of critical listening, then no, it's not the speaker for you. But if you just want great sound and you don't want to really worry about any of the audiophile things that people like me worry about, then you're great. Like, this is the type of speaker for that. The Fluance AI61 is driven by a 120 watt Class D amplifier. The tweeter is a familiar 1-inch silk dome backed up by a 6.5-inch woofer. The tweeters and woofers are crossed over at 2.8 kHz. Sensitivity is 92 decibels with a signal to noise of 104 dB. Fluance still claims a frequency response of 32 Hz to 20 kHz. The DSP handles the EQ and helps with the speaker's overall output. Like the previous gen, the right speaker is the control speaker, and it's where all the main connections are made. The port configuration has changed. Notably, there's now a power switch to turn off the speaker entirely, and a USB-C input for playback of audio. Returning from the previous generation are optical and RCA inputs, as does the Bluetooth and subwoofer output. The subwoofer output has gained a much appreciated 80 Hz low frequency cutoff, making connection to a subwoofer much easier. I used it in conjunction with my B&W 610, a 10-inch steel box subwoofer. Fluance does specify about a 10-hour break-in time for these speakers, specifically for the butyl rubber surround around the woofer to kind of sufficiently warm up. 10 hours isn't a long time for me. That's a work day. 3 podcasts. I was up and running the next day. Up front, not much has changed, and that's a good thing. I like the way the speaker looks. The multifunction knob returns. It's a rotary knob that allows selection of source by a single press, or adjusting the volume by turning it. Beside it is an infrared receiver lens to take controls from the remote. Fluance has great little remotes, like this. It has everything that you really need on it. Mute, source, treble, bass, pairing Bluetooth, play, pause, skip, forward or backwards, and adjusting the LED indicator on the front. My review sample arrived, as you can see, in all black ash. It's also available in black walnut, white walnut, and lucky bamboo. I have a soft spot for lucky bamboo. I also just kind of like saying lucky bamboo. It's my favorite colorway. I do wonder though if Fluance will ever go the KEF route and introduce some more bold colorways, because the design's really cool and it could lend itself to something like red or gold or green or blue or something. I think that would look really cool. I have one nitpick for the design of these speakers, and it's that they don't include speaker grills. It's very specific to me and my family because I have a 3-year-old and Milo likes to push in the drivers of the speakers, and I find myself having to vacuum out the tweeter to get them back to normal. Bit of a bummer. What I generally have to do is keep the speakers up high and away from Milo so he doesn't destroy the speakers, but yeah, speaker grills would be nice, or something protecting the tweeter would be amazing. But what I was most excited about with these speakers is the tune bass port on the back of the speaker. See, much hoopla was made by Fluance about these speakers and how low the speakers could go, and 35 hertz. And while the speakers could go low, it was sort of at the expense of the overall soundstage. Like in my specific use case, I listen to a lot of drum and bass, and when the bass kicks in and the music really gets going, the overall sound output just kind of shrinks down, and it's at the detriment of the listening experience. And it sort of forced me to listen to not a lot of electronic music and more acoustic music and podcasts, or just listening at a lower volume overall. I mean, it made sense that the DSP is going to protect the drivers so you don't blow them out when you first listen to them. But having a bass port, I thought, would be a boon for these speakers. And I'm right. The tune bass port is a game changer for these speakers. There is a marked bump in audio quality. The soundstage is bigger, more expansive, there's more separation in the mix, and the bass hits hard. And specifically when the bass hits hard, the audio level doesn't drop. It stays up, there's lots of impact, lots of weight. I love it. Good job, Fluance. Every so often, I'd bring the speaker down to where it's sitting right now with my DJ setup. I love spinning records. I don't listen to vinyl for any audiophile reason. I just like spinning records. What do I listen to? Photech. I love me some Photech. I got everything. One of the reasons I like Photech is his productions are super tight, really clean, and really well done. And I'm very familiar with Photech's music. I've listened to his stuff on everything from Walkmans and boomboxes. I'm old. All the way to big club speakers, and just about every speaker I've listened to, every system I've listened to, so I'm really familiar with it. And his precision Photech-ness of the drums, like, it's great. My DJ system here is two 1200s, a Pioneer mixer, going directly into the Fluance. It sounds great. If anything, I leave the bass and treble fairly flat, because I tend to tweak the knobs on the mixer itself. Compared to the Ai60, yeah, again, the bass hits really, really hard. Having a subwoofer in the mix is really, really nice. Another place that I tested these out was at my desk. Over there, that's where my desk is, I use Yamaha HS8s to mix and make music. And for day-to-day listening, I tend to listen to those as well, because if I was to Bluetooth off my computer to something over here, there's a bit of a lag, especially if I'm watching a video. The audio with Bluetooth, there's a bit of a delay. It doesn't always sync right. And so I tend to just use the Yamahas for videos when I'm working. And yeah, you know, the Yamahas might be a little bit too big for my space, and the flat frequency response does get a little bit fatiguing over the course of a full workday. So I took a shot at subbing in the Fluance in place of the Yamahas. They're not near-field monitors, so I wasn't using them to mix or do any critical recording or anything like that. But for day-to-day listening, they're awesome. And being that close to me, I didn't feel the need to have a sub connected either. Where the Ai61 has found a great place is connected to our Peloton. My wife and I are trying to get in some semblance of a routine during this pandemic. And on a good day when school isn't canceled, we get up, we get our kids ready and off to school, and then we come back, we check our emails, and then we take turns, like 20 minutes at a time, on the Peloton, get a good workout in, and that's a good day. On a really good day, I wake up super early, sneak downstairs undetected, hop onto the Peloton for a solid ride. Then I hit the weights, and then I get a nice calming stretch in. On these days, I try to keep the Ai61s at a low enough level as to not wake up the kids. But when the kids are not here, we turn up the volume. Sort of. The Ai61s sit on a low media stand about 20 feet in front of the bike's position. It's not ideal by any circumstance, but it gets the job done. With the volume low, I can still get a good sense of the music, but with the volume cranked up, it's not really that loud, and I think the problem lies on the side of Peloton. I mean, it's cranked up all the way, and the Fluance is cranked up all the way, but it's not loud. In a small room, that probably wouldn't be a problem because the vocal mix is fairly loud, and I get it. I mean, they've probably optimized it for listening through Peloton's really crappy speaker that's included with the bike, but I wish maybe there was a setting for an external speaker on the Peloton so I could really crank it up good and loud. Non-Peloton Bluetooth is all kinds of awesome. With my phone, I rarely ever hit max volume, and if I do, I'm turning it down because it's way too loud. So, fix that shit, Peloton. With movies and TV is where the Ai61 really shines. Holy crap, is it awesome with movies. With Godzilla vs. Kong or Shang-Chi, two pretty terrible movies with awesome soundtracks, every crash, bang, and wallop hits super hard has tons of impact. With a subwoofer in place, holy smokes, it's amazing. If you don't have a subwoofer, you don't need to rush out and grab one if you're getting these. But if you do enjoy those subterranean depths, subwoofer is all kinds of awesome. But either way, holy smokes, it's pretty crazy what these guys can deliver. Even the contrasting quiet moments were really good. I didn't find myself grabbing the remote and turning up the volume during those moments. Everything was clear and audible, and yeah, it was surprising. Really, really good. Movies are so good that I wonder if Fluance would ever release a 3-channel version of this setup. I mean, I'm no engineer, so I don't even understand how that could possibly work. But if they did have a 3-channel setup where the center speaker is the control speaker, take my money. Take it now. That would be so amazing. Fluance, let me know if that's possible, or just release it and I'll buy it. So all in all, this is evolution over revolution. Fluance has taken a great speaker and added some seemingly minor upgrades and made it even better. I'm a big fan of this effort from Fluance, so much so that I'm probably gonna grab another set and have it permanently connected to the Peloton because Peloton Fluance sound is pretty awesome. But I'll probably get in Lucky Bamboo because it looks great. I'm a fan.